Okay, starting the recording. Don't know if I'm going to post this on public or not. I might, but mostly this is for our Discord group. We're going to go over Nansen signals first and just see if we can find anything. I did notice on, what was it, Smart Money, Dex Trades, Live Dex Trades, I had it running for the group, and I'd noticed a token. Let's see if I can find it again. So the second thing we're going to go into, and I'm going to make it a separate video, is going to be live Solana meme coin trading, which is very risky, but I'll get into that later. So bottom out 2,500. Let's see if I can find that token again. So what we're looking at here is these are the tokens being bought currently. You know, sometimes they're just going into profits, but you know, these are all your smart money wallets. Some of them are market makers. That's what the little robot next to the name, the Wintermute market maker there. So you can pretty much discount those plays, but let's just see. I think on the second page it'll show, yeah, there it is right there, Vita. Oh, VPP is getting some buys today too. I need to get back into VPP and into Sensi, but I just don't know if they're going to keep going sideways for a while or not. We could look at VPP just to see what it's showing. So an angel investor got into, well, it's somebody I have labeled as angel investor anyway. So this is a token I've never heard of before, Vita DAO. That's why I wanted to look into it. Looks like they actually sold, or they sent to, hang on. Oh, they sent it to a different wallet. That's all it was. Okay, so they had purchased on June 13th. And it looks like they're just wanting to hold it for a while and get it off of their main wallet there. So this is their wallet that we're tracking. They sent it to a new wallet, which this one actually has more money in it. We may want to start tracking this one. Oh, they made a new wallet. Okay, they're trying to hide their activity, maybe. Yeah, it seems to me they're trying to hide their activity, what they're in. We could look at some of their plays just to see what they're doing. Yeah, so okay, so this is interesting. It seems like this is a long-term wallet that they created, and the reason I say that is, look, there's no trades that have been done. All they're doing is switching tokens from this wallet, their purchase wallet. You know, like right here, this is where they purchased, or this is where they took it from this wallet and moved it to this one that we're looking at currently. So this is like a long-term wallet for them. And we can actually look at every one of these if we want, but, and I will briefly, but I think it's interesting they're doing this because, you know, maybe this tells you, wow, every one of these are a DAO. Every one of these tokens are a DAO. That's interesting. I don't really know how to, you know, I don't know what their goal is on this. Maybe this is just one wallet that they have. They have a lot of money, and, you know, these are the tokens that they want to, what do you say, they want to invest in for the DAO narrative, I guess. That's what I'm trying to think of. A lot of these tokens I've never heard of. I'd have to look more into this. I mean, I can't say for certain that these are all good projects to jump into, but I do think it's very interesting because the volume has increased on each one of these today. My only issue with any of this, by the way, is that we are getting rejected at this bullish line. You know, if we were above this bullish line, I'd think, well, you know, maybe there's a chance we're ready to break out of here, because there is a pattern where it does something like this on this, you know, this expanding range here, where it'll build a higher low, then it'll come up here. You know, it may just hang around here for a little bit, and then finally it breaks above. So really what I'm looking for, I'll be a lot more confident if we can get above this blue line. But, you know, if we could just get above the bullish line even, that would be a good sign. So I'm open to any scenario. I want everybody to understand that. I'm not saying we have to go down, you know, 100% accurate, that we're going to go down, but, you know, this 50 RSI line is getting rejected currently, and I don't like that. And I don't like that we rejected the bullish line. So it's very important we get back above that. And you can see why it's important. When we were coming up here and I said, this is a time to start taking profits here, a lot of you did, which is good. When that happened, we started creating a new base of support. And then here was a warning because it got under that base of support. And then you started creating either a double top or lower highs. And so this is definitely a lower high. This is not a triple top. You could call this a triple top if you want to count each one of these. But anyway, this is a lower high. And usually when you get a lower high like this, you can expect more downside. But we'll just, we'll keep watching it. I think we'll be more positive about price moving up if we get above the bullish line. But until then, let's expect that we could go down, 37 to 42K. And you can see that this line projects down to about 44K here. But, if you extend that line even further, it could be into the 42K range. So, that's why those numbers are being thrown out there. But I think on this, let me do some more studying on these DAOs here, because I don't usually invest in these DAO type tokens. So I'm going to keep these open. I'll look into it more. And I don't want to look at this one. What is Virtue Poker? Yeah, Virtue Poker just doesn't have much volume right now. Volume's king, price action king, volume king. So we really need to wait for some volume to come into this. If I was to bring up the chart for VPP, I suspect it's in a buy area. Yeah, it's above the support. There's going to be a lot of support right in there because that's where the last impulse was from there. So I suspect it'll hold in here, but we don't know for sure. It is bearish on the RSI here. So remember the 30-70 rule, by the way. If your token that you're following hits the 30 RSI line on the daily chart, it's fine to buy there. It's not guaranteed it's going to be the bottom, but usually it's going to be a good buy once price goes back up. You'll make some good gains from that. This is kind of what I was thinking about Bitcoin dominance, how it's doing a triangle and it's going to break down out of that triangle, which is good for us. We want it to go down so price goes up for altcoins. And this is just the usual presidential chart that I've showed before. All right, let's see. Okay, so there's really I have a couple other things we can look at. Let's look at Twiggy here. I don't know that I've heard of that one. Sometimes these are going to be brand new tokens and there's just not much to take from them. But what we can do is copy the contract and we can go to like Dex Screener and paste that contract in and just see what the chart looks like. And one thing you want to do for sure, and I'm going to get into this later with the Solana meme coins. I don't like this price action for one thing, because you're creating lower highs there, but it could bounce off the bottom here. That's 89K market cap, brand new token. What is today? Oh no, it's not a brand new token. So I would feel better about this support area as long as the team is active, but you don't want to lose that support area. Definitely not. Because these tokens, they go through these ups and downs. It just happens on any token, even high caps. So what you want to do here is you check the website. You check that your Dex Screener and Dex Tools links work. So click on them. Make sure it goes. Is it not going to work? Okay, well, that's kind of odd that they didn't go back and update these links. But another thing you can do, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Another thing you can do is go back to Twitter, look at their page. Are they active? Yeah, they're active 3 minutes ago, August 8th. They posted something yesterday. So yeah, this looks fine, I think. And then always think about your patterns as well. I don't know, something like that. So falling wedge is very powerful. We've talked about it before. If you haven't already, make sure you go to the education channel. And about halfway down, I've got a thing here showing the most powerful types of either consolidation or distribution. Sideways consolidation is great because, you're able to purchase a lot just like the whales are at a certain level without pushing the price up. And then when price violently goes down like this and it breaks out of it, then that's a good pattern to watch for as well. And then the triangle breakout's very powerful. So you're always going to get a nice pump out of most of these. This one and this one especially, but this one This one's distracting me. I want to have a hot dog for lunch. So if that was yellow, it made me think of a hot dog. But you have to be careful with the falling wedge because, sometimes when it breaks out of it like this, you just get like a 50% to 100% pump, and then it'll come right back down and consolidate for a while. So really this one and this one are nice. If you get a breakout above, they're a lot easier to follow. Like Mog did this one, Mubi did this one. What was the one Tatiana called Ords, I think, did this one. But, falling wedges, they can be powerful. You just got to be careful with them, I guess, is the best way to put it. Yeah, so kind of a falling wedge right now. Your lines don't have to be perfect. I would say something like that is fine even. It's not going to touch exactly every single time. Just kind of get the rough idea what it looks like. And then if you get a breakout above, that would tell you that the downtrend is probably over, but you need to start forming higher highs and higher lows. All right, what else are we looking at? So Twiggy, it's okay. I mean, if you want to throw a little bit in, it's fine on that one, but there's no momentum right now, I guess is the main point. So Twiggy, not going to worry about that. Let's look at a different way. Okay, so let's say you don't have any skin in the game with Nansen. You're not a subscriber or anything, and you just have a free account. I'm going to show you what you can use. So this right here is free to you if you don't have a Nansen account at all. So just go ahead and make one if you want. And what I usually do, I don't take the first page into account. And I will say one thing that you can watch for, this is kind of alpha that not many people know about. If on the first page of the token inflow, you see a lot of these wrapped Ether, wrapped BTC, these type of staked type tokens, or DAI especially, that's another stake type. If you see a lot of these on the first page, that means that the market's not doing too well. That means that a lot of the whales have gone risk off, at least temporarily, and they're waiting for a bottom to be formed. So this is another way that we can tell that we could have more downside. We'll see. My mind's open to either option though. Timecoin is there. Page 2 I really don't pay much attention to either because it's usually higher cap tokens. Ondo is always there. There's always people accumulating that one. Aave is starting to show up more. Gala is usually there. These are highly liquid tokens and there's a lot of supply, so that's why they're usually showing up there at the top. Track has been showing up some today, but I don't know. It's a fairly high market cap, but this is another falling wedge situation. You're going to see this a lot. This one has a lot of, it seems like highly diluted token with all the volume here, so I'm really not interested in it, but I would just say with something like that, if you like high caps, then just find ones that are getting down there into the 30 RSI range. Nero's still up there. I'm trying to find something new that not many people know about. We want to get in at the bottom. What is this, WSH? We'll look at that one. Mog is usually on this list somewhere. It has a real strong community. Sifu, I think, is one I've seen before. We can take a look at Mog. Oh, Andy's there. I know a lot of you like Andy. OSAC has been showing up a lot. So most of these are meme coins, but eventually meme coins, I would say they're still going to be traded a lot. It's just that eventually that attention is going to shift to higher caps, mid caps, because this next push, whenever it happens, I'm thinking it'll happen this year, we'll see, but this next push is usually going to start with those. It might start with Bitcoin for a little bit, but then it'll quickly switch to altcoins, starting with high caps and then work its way down. But this could just be a meme coin cycle where memes stay strong throughout. Okay, so let's look at these. What is this? Okay, so I'm not even interested in this one. It's got a weird looking chart here. Yeah. So Sifu, it's a low market cap. What is this one? This is another nice feature of Nansen is the AI that works within Nansen pulls all the information for you so you can read exactly what Sifu is. So it's saying Sifu Vision is native token of Sifu Vision project, which operates Ethereum advanced treasury management strategies. Okay. Yeah, so just another falling wedge. If we were to pull up this chart, which I'll use Dex Screener to look it up. And even if we don't find a token here that looks really good, yeah, I really don't like that chart. But even if we don't find one, you'll still be gaining knowledge on how to find your own tokens here if you want to do that. I mean, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. But you can see what my workflow is, how I kind of go through everything. And it's real convenient here. You've got all the purchases that are made today, last 24 hours, all the sales, and you can bring up just smart money. So here's some smart money buying today and some selling. So, Mog's kind of chopping around. We got in this one pretty early. And it's all about conviction, right? I mean, you gotta decide that you're going to jump into these tokens. So we got in way down here. It did a 40x. As long as it holds TP1, you're fine. But you're starting to create lower highs here, so I would just be careful with it. There's a little warning wick right there that it could break down. And then we can look at, RSI is just easy to look at. Yeah, it's projecting at the 50 RSI there, so it doesn't look great for continuation just yet. It definitely could in the future. Andy, you're probably going to see the same thing. Actually, I do have an Andy chart. Let's look at it. This is Andy. No, I don't. Okay. Is it Andy ETH? Yeah. So here's Andy ETH. Notice how it had like a triangle breakout, sort of a triangle, not a symmetrical, but more of a right angle triangle. So it could be consolidating for one more move before a bigger cool off, but I would say watch this on your RSI. If you see something like that where lower highs are being created, you really want for that to break out and at least get back above the 50 RSI, because who knows what the downtrend would be. You got to be careful that you're not going to get caught in some kind of downtrend. And then if I was to bring up engineering robo, yeah, I'll check that for you here in a second, Leo. Yeah, Wrapped, that's a narrative on Wrapped Dog. That's a narrative that showed up on Solana meme coins a couple of days ago. Is this thing going to pop up? Okay, yeah, so clearly bearish currently on Andy, on the daily chart anyway. But, long term is different. Just because we're temporarily bearish on a lot of tokens, I understand that, they will get going again. But you have to decide, if you're looking to make an entry, you typically don't want to be buying a top like this. Even if you miss the token, who cares? There's other tokens to play. Don't get caught up in people on Twitter telling you, you're going to miss out on this token, and they're acting like it's the only token in existence. Because sometimes you can get this 50% retracement here from this breakout. So there's only two ways to play this. You wait for the support to hit, one of these supports down here, or you wait for a breakout above, and that's the correct way to play things. And again, you can use RSI. If you would have bought this 30 RSI here on the daily, that would have been fine. You'd be up a little bit. But, there could be one more, at least one more impulse down. Okay, let's look at Wrapped. Yeah, and something I would say about this, I'm trying to copy it here. Okay, so number one, let's look at this, and I'm going to get into this here in a minute, but this is one of the most important things that people don't know on Solana meme coins, especially ones that are still in pump fund. You want to check and see if the Dex screener has been paid, and before I paste this in, let me just show you what that means. Because you can actually look it up this way too. So I'm going to paste this Wrapped Dog into here. And yes, it has been paid. And the reason why you know it's been paid is because there's an image here, and they've got their website and Twitter, and they've got a little description down here with more links. If this wasn't, if there was no information here, that means they didn't pay the $300 to get it listed on the sidebar. And ads are completely different. I'm not talking about ads here. So you can pay money to get ads on Deck Screener, but the first thing you do when you make a token, if it's a legit token and you're not trying to rug people, is you link all your website and everything here. And then things you want to check is the website linking to their actual website, or is it linking to something else? And here it's just linking straight to Pump Fund. So you have to be at least a little bit concerned to see something like that. It doesn't mean it can't pump, because obviously it did. Let's see what the daily shows. Well, can't look at the daily. Yeah, so this is a lower high. I mean, yeah, that's a falling wedge there that broke out, so it's possible that it could take off. But I would be very careful if it fell under this line here, because that's the current support. But this is, if you talk about this being a falling wedge, so falling wedge, roughly somewhere in here, breakout, created a higher high with a higher low, higher high, marginally higher low. So does that mean that the momentum's slowing down? Possibly. But from a macro perspective, this was your high, and this is a lower high, and that's why you have to be careful with this. I mean, if it was to break above 15 million here, then sure, it's probably at least coming back up to 23 million. But, I mean, what can you really expect to make on a token like this? If you're holding it, then great, you made a lot of money. But what can you expect to make on a token like this if you're just now entering? Probably not much. This token, I don't think, would end up being like a MOG or something that would be around for a long time. I mean, I could be proven wrong on that. I don't really know for certain. But to me, the website's not linked to anything except Pump Fund, and it just doesn't seem like a serious team. So understand that volume bots can be implemented here by these teams. It looks like they bought up a lot of the supply early on, so they own a lot of the token, so they can create a higher floor. So anybody that got into this token, they're doing really well. I mean, somebody that bought way down here, if they held to the top, made a 23x, so they did good. But, I mean, you can look at the top traders too. There's a lot of things you got to take into account, like has the dev sold? Usually when the dev sells, or if maybe some of their insider wallets sell, that means they're out of the project, and there's no more advertising happening. So, how, unless the CTO picks up the project, how could it keep moving, right? Let's see. Oh, am I cutting out? Huh. Let's see. I'm just going to bring up OBS here, see if it's doing anything weird. Oh, okay. It must be you. Sports cards. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. I mean, I know I'm going through a lot of different things here, and many of the things that I'm talking about are from accumulated knowledge over many years, so it's going to be hard to really understand some of it unless you're well versed in it. And I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else. I'm just saying you have to, there's no way to speed run learning TA. It's just an accumulated thing over many years. It's kind of an experience thing. I could tell you all day, how to read this, and you might pick up on some of it, but until you really get your own experience, you don't have that confidence. And it's really difficult. Like let's say we were looking at this, and I turn on a 1 second chart on brand new meme coins because they move so fast. So the price action that was happening here when it first launched, you could have gotten chopped out pretty often. Like up here, somebody could have seen this engulfing candle from this full red candle here engulfed this green one, and somebody said, well, it looks like it's bearish, I'm just going to get out, they're going to rug me, and then it takes off and does all this. So price is never going to go up in a straight line, we know that, and they're going to try to chop you out and get you out of your position either way. There is manipulation on any token, But these meme coins, they're just a different animal, no pun intended, but they're a different animal. And yeah, I mean, the simplest way to look at it is if you got a lower high, then just be really careful with it. I mean, at minimum, it needs to get above this. You can see how it kind of rejected here before. So I would say here's your support, and then here's your bullish. Although it doesn't have much room to go up before you hit another resistance. So, as far as jumping into this token right now, I just wouldn't be interested. Number one, the market cap is way too high. I try to get in ones that are under 60K if I can, but they're very risky as well. I mean, there's plenty of other tokens, like we just talked about MOG, that are, great, like big community, like cult-like, and those are the ones that you want to hold till the end of the cycle. So, ones like Rap Dog, I think they're just kind of like a flash in the pan type thing. But yeah, even with MOG, I think there could be. I thought it could hit TP2 first, but I'm kind of rethinking that now because of the way Bitcoin's acting. Just remember, every token is going to suffer when Bitcoin is weak. Well, 99% of them anyway. Okay. Oh, hey, Luke, I didn't know that was you. That makes sense, though. You've told me about the sports card thing. Talk a bit about BTC, what you're seeing for Confluence. Yeah. So I kind of talked about it before, but in so many words, let me bring up this broadening wedge formation. I talked about it once before on a previous video, I believe, but let me find the right image because I think it is important to understand what it could do. I mean, this is as good as any. Here, I'll bring this one over so you can see it. I'm looking at it on a different screen. So this one here, I mean, just imagine. Well, you know what? Hang on, because that's the wrong formation. Here we go. I had the wrong one. Copy image. And let me know if you can see this. You should be able to. Okay, so this isn't necessarily exactly the same. I don't know if I can find a bull flag. Bull flag, well, that one may work. I'm trying to find a broadening formation with a bull flag. Okay, this one may work. Sorry. All right, so this is pretty simple to understand. It's just a bull flag, really. It's just that the wedge is broadening. So you have a first impulse, major impulse, and then now you're rejecting at a certain resistance, but you're, at the same time you're losing momentum. And then eventually, once you get to that support level that a lot of the institutions are waiting for because they pretty much know where it's going to anyway, then they step in. I mean, organic price action from you and me is not going to push this price up. It's going to take some really big dollars. So, keeping this in mind here, I'm going to delete it. I mean, if I was to extend this, I mean, we really don't know just how far it could go. Usually there's 5 touches, and I don't know if you start here, if you start here, but let's say if you start there, or even here, say 1, 2, 3, and maybe it rejects here. I don't know if it makes it up here exactly, but 4, 5. So the 5th touch is when it would break out, and start moving back up. And my expectation is if it was to keep going down, I can't imagine it getting past 37 to 42K because there's so much support down there. And that's kind of, this area right here. Now, there's probably an argument to be made that most of the support's here and that it could come down here, but I have trouble believing that could happen, only because it's not just this support that would hold it, in my opinion. It's also this over here from the previous cycle. So yeah, this is the area that I'm looking at that I expected to bounce from. Doesn't have to get down there. I'm definitely not saying that it's 100% for sure going to happen, because there are many broadening formations that they don't come down another time. Maybe they'll just come down to here and start forming something a little bit higher, and then finally get above this and take off. But regardless, I mean, you know my stance. I've made it pretty clear that this presidential chart, wherever it's at, here we go. You know, I drew this line way back in May, expecting that it would do something similar to the thing that it's done in the past. And that's from halving to the U.S. presidential election. So in a U.S. presidential election year, you usually get a lot of chop in between halving. A lot of people think, oh, you know, halving is just going to take off because it's more difficult for the miners to mine. But, you know, there's just a lot of choppy action during that time. And part of that is, you know, we've made a huge move. We got up to the breakout line and couldn't get above it. Double, triple top, whatever you want to call it. This was a double top, well, really a lower high, and it came down. But mostly they held these lines, even though this one dipped under it a little bit. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm open to either scenario, but at minimum, I don't know what I want to put here to label this. I don't know, final support. So at minimum, if this is a true higher high from this structure, like if we go down to like a 4 hour or something, yeah, it's building higher highs and higher lows. But if this is going to continue up, final support has to hold, and it has to get above this bullish line, because this is the value area low. Like if I bring up a, and I really don't remember where I drew it from before, but if I do this fixed range volume profile, you can see where most of the volume takes place. You know, this POC right here, this point of control, has most of the buy sell pressure. So, you know, that's why it's really important for it to get above that one. But, you know, in order to even test this one, we got to get above this value area low. It's kind of shifted a little bit lower, so I could track this down. But, I mean, there's still volume areas here, volume nodes. You know, there's one down here as well where that final support is. So these may not be exactly accurate, but, you know, you get the idea anyway. I'd have to figure out where I pulled that from before. So hopefully that makes sense for you. What else did you say? Election. What does election look like zoomed in on this cycle? So this is the weekly. And if we bring up the daily, I mean, I will say here on the weekly, I do like that even though it rejected all the way down here to 49K, it was bought up pretty quickly. But you could say something like, well, if we're looking at the weekly chart, then that's your support line right there at about whatever that is. Well, we'll just call it 56K. So that line has to hold at minimum from a weekly standpoint. But technically, I mean, that is a higher low if the weekly closes right there. So it's a higher low from there, but then you have to go and make a higher high. You know, you can't just falter there because then it's going to come back down. What else? Okay, so if I look at this on like a 3-day chart, that's what you're looking at. And 2-day, and then a daily. So it's kind of a head and shoulder formation. And the good thing about that is, even if this was to break down, I mean, let's say that's your neckline right there. I don't know, somewhere in here. That would put your bottom around 42K, yeah, if the neckline is to be believed. So hopefully that makes sense for you. It's a good exercise to kind of look at all the angles like that. How far off is it from retesting that line? It is, I mean, depending on how many weeks it would take for it to, you know, test the line, it could be 22, could be 17. You know, if it was to fall right now, it'd be 25. You know, these trend lines tend to hold from a macro point of view. Okay, I don't know. There's just not much going on right now, right? I mean, anytime the market's like this, where Bitcoin's weak, you're just not going to find many good plays. We can look at hot contracts real quick. I know some of you enjoy looking at that. Usually, if the market's bullish, we find some amazing plays, like 40 to 60x within a couple of weeks. So we're going to get back into that at some point. I can't guarantee that we're going to see, more 40 to 60x's, but we're going to try our best to anyway. So what we're looking at here is I'm looking at liquidity pools for tokens, and I'm looking only at tokens that were created in the last 7 days. And then we can see which ones over the last 24 hours have the most liquidity or, just seem like they're active. What is this one? Truth. I mean, as you can see, there's really not that much inflow. I'd like to see a lot more. I mean, we're only looking at 12K, so the volume's just not there for some of these. There is one called Max here that we could look at. I mean, it's really weak volume on a lot of these tokens. There's not much to look at, but we can take that off, and then we can look at overall, what are the most, let's see, how do I want to look at this? Inflow percentage, maybe? Yeah, I guess we could look at that. Inflow percentage. Yeah, so here are some of the tokens that have the most money going into them over the last 24 hours. DeFido. I mean, some of these are on like PancakeSwap or something, so you may not even be interested in them, but I'll just mention the ones on ETH. There's one called Matt. I can look at DeFi. Oh, DeFido is actually on Base. A lot of these are on Base. I'll pull up a couple of them though, and we'll just see what they look like. PCAT, that's on Base. Baby Trump is on WBNB. What's Flovi? Okay, let's just look at a couple of those. So here's Truth. I think it's Truth Finance is the name of it. I mean, it's really marginal, but there is some volume coming into this one. A high balance wallet, looks like they might have purchased some new wallets are purchasing some, but the volume's not really there, 3K, so let's just skip that one. I mean, 24-hour volume at 3K, it's nothing. I don't know what this Max one is. And while I'm looking for this, I'll kind of glance here at chat. Is there any confluence outside of the charts that you weigh heavily? OI, volume threshold, certain RSIs, et cetera. I mean, yeah, RSI, I like that for its simplicity as far as the 30-70 rule. I mean, like if we just go back to Bitcoin here real quick, and then I bring up RSI. Oh wait, let me bring it up over here. Oh, I already had it up. Yeah, so it rejected 50 RSI. The 30-70 rule works. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to work exactly every time, but look at that. If you would have bought Bitcoin, I mean, I wouldn't recommend leverage because that wick would have wiped you out. But if you would have bought Bitcoin right here, you would have caught this pump. It's not much. I mean, with Bitcoin, you almost have to use leverage just to make anything, but that's a 10% move. So the 30-70 rule works, and what that rule is, if anybody's not familiar, I've been talking about it lately. It's very simple. It's not like I'm reinventing the wheel or anything. It's just, if you're on a daily chart, doesn't matter what token it is, if your token touches the 30 line, and sometimes it comes short of the 30 line, it's usually a good time to buy, although there could be another lower low below it. So you'd have to, if you're going to buy there, then you need to be taking profits at the 50 line. If it gets above the 50 line, take profits at 70. So that's the 30-70 part of it. You're buying down here when it's oversold. You're selling up here when it's overbought. But just understand that you're not going to get a perfect bottom or a perfect top. You're kind of scalping in a way, which isn't really the correct terminology for a daily chart, but because usually that's done on a lower time frame. But just understand that it does work. I mean, look at this when it got near the 30 line. I would have been concerned buying this downtrend because it looked bearish. But if you had the conviction to buy here, you would have made money off this pump. And then it got near the 70 line here. You could have took profits here. You could have took profits at the 50 line. I mean, everything looks really good in hindsight, right? Yeah, it looks like you're a perfect trader, but this is why you need to practice. I mean, look at this, touch the 30 line twice. Even if you would have bought this one right here, you would have made profit on that 70 line up there. Because it didn't reject the 50 line here, right? It just went right through it. So when it hit 70 or got close to it, just take your profit. It's really one of the simplest ways to trade, and you don't need an indicator to do it. I mean, it is an indicator, but you don't need a paid one. Where was I on this? We were talking about Max. Let's just see. Oh, this one's called Matrix. That's a cool name. Okay, brand new token. Is it? Brand new token? Yeah, created yesterday. Lower high. Let's see, it hit. I always look at these brand new tokens by market cap. Oh yeah, it hit 44 million. I wouldn't even mess with this. I mean, it's just, I think it's already done its move. If for some reason one day we look back and this was one of the best plays, I would be surprised, but this looks heavily manipulated, like somebody bought a lot of the supply and, you know, just making some profit off of people. Just understand, when somebody buys a lot of the supply as the token creator, they're not going to make a loss other than fees. So it's always going to be a net win for them. They just need a couple people to jump in, and then they take their money, and that's it. Did I talk? Okay, I didn't talk about Matt yet. So this one's up 288%. Volume coming in, price coming up. 24-hour volume's pretty good, 340K versus the market cap of 1 million. So yeah, this is one you could definitely look at. And we'll just pull up Dex Screener and paste it in. Oh, this is like a Matt Fury. Okay, so this one did its pump already, and then they crashed it and took all the money. So the only way I would jump back into this one, even though it has kind of a favorable higher high setup here, the only way I'd jump into it is if a CTO took it over, because your dev team's probably out of this one. And in this case, you could just check Twitter. Well, you know, somebody's still posting. There's a chance a CTO took this over. I'm not sure. You do have to do some studying on things like this. I mean, this was created July 11th. There's no volume. You know, there's a little bit here. Who bought this? Let's see. I need to see who's buying this. So it's a high balance wallet. Okay, this is the person that just pumped up the volume. Okay, brand new token, I mean a wallet pretty much. So there's no way we can track anything they're doing, I don't think. Could even be the token creator jumping back in, or it could be the CTO leader jumping in, you know. What is this? Okay, high balance. I don't see it being transferred between a different wallet here. Well, this looks like the creator wallet, honestly. Just because I see a lot of selling. Unless it's just like a sniper or something, that's weird. I don't know. It, you know, it's one you could look into. I'll paste the. This is the one for Matt. I'll just paste it in. Oh, I'm not logged in. Well, yeah, I don't really want to paste this one in the Discord because I don't want somebody to get the wrong idea. But anyway, yeah, I don't know on that one. I'm kind of disinterested in it, to be honest, because there's just not enough information there that would tell you that it's ready to move up. It could just be a dead coin. Kirby, that one doesn't look good. Let's see what DeFido looks like. And this is on base, so if you're going to do this, you have to back everything out of Dex Screener and do dexscreener.com/base/ and then you paste your contract address in. Yeah, I mean, somebody's buying here for sure, but you know, you got another token that just looks like it's dead, right? I mean, I just wouldn't expect that this one day it may pump, but it's going to take a CTO to jump in or something. Somebody that'll put some volume back in it with advertising or something like that. Compete. What is this? 8 million. There's no volume last 24 hours, so probably skip that one. I don't even know which one this is. PCAT. $300. I'm just looking at the DEX volume over the last 24 hours. Yeah, none of these are worth looking into. Flovi. 3.88K. That's really not that much. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these just look dead, right? Andy, I think we already looked at, didn't we? Yeah. This one has a little bit of promise. We looked at it previously where it seemed like smart money was buying it. It's called Osaka Protocol. Launched on April 23rd, 2023. Proof of stake consensus mechanism allows users to stake their tokens. Okay, so it's a lot like Mubi. It sounds like Mubi does the same thing where you get rewards. But we can look at DEX and just see, what is this, Ethereum? I mean, it's basically a bull flag, kind of like what Bitcoin's doing. You know, you could bring up, what is the M cap on this one? Oh, yeah. It's a pretty big M cap. I mean, here's what you have to think about. If you get a token that looks like this, that just, you know, exploded up into like 100 million market cap or something. Slurf did this, by the way. You just have to expect that it's going to need a cool-off period. I mean, this is too high, too fast, right? If it was more controlled, then yeah, there might be some room left in it. But I just wouldn't waste my time with this, even though it looks like it could be like a bull flag. I mean, it's lost significant support here, so I say just skip that one. Okay, so as you can see, we went through everything. I'm going to try to do some more studying on these DAOs that popped up because I really don't know if I trust them yet. But as you can see, there's just not that much showing up on smart money, especially when Bitcoin's weak like this. So what I'll do now is I'm going to stop this recording and I'm going to move over real quick to the Solana, doing like live Solana meme coin trading. Let me just make sure I got to make sure I save this correctly first. I don't want to lose this recording.